Okay, folks, good morning. All right. Well, we finished up this, the Ferdinand last night. And I'll tell you what, the human body is a motherfucker because you get used to things. No matter how awesome something may be, you just get used to it. You're like, that's just the way things are. You know? As I like to say, it's what kept people from surviving the Ice Age. And one of those things is I look at this now, and I'm like, because I've looked at it for a while. I've looked at it for many, many hours. But if you compare it next to the pre-painted dragon one, which I thought looked awesome when I got it, it looks like shit. Because none of this stuff pops on it. Now, add some washes to this and a dry brush and you're good to go. Right? And it'll, like, a whole opinion of that'll change. But it's funny, the Dunkelgelb was pretty close to both of them. And when you spray this stuff on this vehicle, it looks very green. Dunkelgelb's actually got a fair amount of green in it. So I don't think that we're going to leave this one as is, but I'm also not going to mess with it. I think we're going to leave it alone because it came in handy to like cast those parts out of it. But if I ever do another one of these, I'll probably do the hatch open. This Commander's hatch open. And I will be on the lookout for, one of these old Eschi models that actually, pretty damn decent. We just had to add some parts to it. I thought the barrel was going to be really out of scale, and it's kind of on the big side, but as far as the muzzle brake and everything, but it actually turned out all right. Anyhow, one thing I didn't do accidentally is I didn't paint, and I've already sealed this. So again, it's not a big deal if it doesn't get sealed. I didn't do the metallic parts. I didn't add the final little dry brush on the metallic parts. So I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna just jump into the Tiger. Shouldn't need more than that. It's just two tiny little things. And I don't really paint any metal on the tracks. It's just going to pick up all kinds of dirt. That's it. Now we're done. I may put a dull coat on those parts or may not. It's really not that noticeable. It doesn't matter that it's not protected. They're in areas you can't really touch up. So, good morning. 61 degrees in northern Michigan. That's pretty warm for you guys. Okay, so she's done. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, this doesn't look that good. And then you look at the original one that you're really impressed with, and that one looks like crap. It's really it's the number choice. I wanted to specifically use a unit that used hollow black numbers, and they're a little too subtle. But, and unfortunately, I think the same situation is going to happen here. Because this has hollow white ones, and they're really just going to disappear, but it is what it is. It makes sense to have those because it'll, like, blend in with the camouflage. Other than you got this great camouflage, and then you're like, it just doesn't really matter. Okay, step one on this Joker is, I'm trying to think, does this thing have a black wash on it? It does not. It does not. And if you don't do it, it makes a big difference. It looks a lot better with one, in my opinion. Yeah, you may not like it. There's lots of things other people like that you may not like. It's your own creation. Where is, now I just need to find it. Strong tone. Black brown shouldn't be there. Get your ass on out of here. Strong tone. Strong tone. It's dark tone we're looking for. Shouldn't be there. That's the 3 light colored ones. Here. There. Here, there, everywhere. One of these days I'm going to be bored and I'm going to take one of my earlier Panzers that don't have this done to them or the drippings and do a before and after. You can tell it's a huge difference. It just makes your eye aware of so many more details that the thing has. It's the best way to describe it. A detail enhancer. Okay, this is going to have road wheels that we have to paint, tracks. Let's do the black wash now. First. Black lining. Wash lining, really, because there's some people that actually put like a black line in between things, and I don't hate the way that looks. Especially with figures. If done well, it can look really good. Good morning, Marcus. I'm a little more alive today. I was going to have game night last night, and I went to bed at like 9. That second shot of that vaccine just really knocked me out. Fortunately, I didn't have a headache. I just felt like I didn't want to do anything. Like everything was too much trouble. And we're painting this like it's part of the 505th. Now I noticed, and I may do this, I noticed that some of the illustrations that I had, are illustrations, not photographs, of the vehicles of the 505th had these pieces of wood that were all along the side here, like square. Almost like they're going to go build, a pole barn or something, Not just rough cut, but actually like a finished piece of wood, almost like from front to the side. And it just shows this part of the vehicle. I don't know if that's something they did or they did the Russian thing. Let's add a little bit more armor to it. I was reading some account recently, and they were talking about the extra junk that the Allied forces, and particularly the Americans, added to their tanks to try to prevent, a full penetration by the German round. Actually made it more likely for the round not to deflect and get stuck in. It's like it didn't really provide that much armor, and the fact that it's now an uneven, rocky kind of surface, so when the shell came in, instead of it being deflected off, it like grabbed and did more. I don't know. I'd feel better about having sandbags on a tank personally. With any luck, you'll complete the Moroccans this weekend. Next up, Japanese. Yeah. I sealed this thing yesterday, and I should have sealed the two other houses, but I didn't have much time to go out there and do that. Anything with an airbrush takes a lot longer than you expect to. Like, I'll just be out here for a minute. Next thing you know, 45 minutes later, yeah, I'm not going to be seriously working on any Japanese stuff until you start seeing me doing reviews of palm trees. And I'm probably not going to do that until, I don't really need to be spending that money right now. So, just a matter of that. I saw that old Ron is coming out with a shitload of T-34s. I won't be getting any of those because I've got, if I get those, it just renders the 35, 40 T-34s I have that are finished. Like, I won't want to use them. So, unless I can sell those for like $20 a piece, painted, then I can get the other ones from Ron, the Ron copies, but I'm happy with what I have. People used to do that that used to happen all the time in 15 millimeter miniatures with the ancients and stuff. They'll be like, all right, I'll make an army come out with something. And then somebody will, as soon as I'm done with the army, somebody will come out with something, that is just incredibly great looking. It's like, if you fuckers would have just come out with this a little while ago, I would have just gotten those instead. Now, had I not gotten all these T-34s when I got them, how many T-34s would I have in my inventory right now? 2, probably. So, that was the whole reason, is to get a leg up on the thing. It's like, I'm never going to be able to find $4 T-34s anymore. Or so. I think it was less than $4. And they're almost all painted. All the T-34-85s are painted. And I think I might have like 3 T-34s to paint. And they're like model 1940s. Like, I need more of those, like a hole in the head. The only thing I would consider at this point would be T-34-85 with bed spring armor. You like how that looks? I think it looks like a melted asshole. I don't really care for the way that looks. It could look worse, but it looks better than a British vehicle with an American star on it. You also have a lot of T-34s. His look beautiful. I mean, but at some point you got to say, okay, I need to be happy with what I have, or you're just keeping up with the Joneses. And man, I feel like I'd have to get the T-34s and 176th because they're the same scale those are in. The only ones I would consider doing would be the T-34s, uh, like the ones that they had at Stalingrad, with the STZ backs and the part that's under the gun barrel that's jutting forward, and no rubber on the road wheels. But what, to paint them all that to paint them green again, and struggle with trying to find ones that look interesting, because it is a struggle to find T-34s that look interesting paint wise. Aesthetically, they're a good looking vehicle. Pretty much all versions of the T-34. They got some good looking lines. But man, it's a struggle to find ones that don't look like some child just drew on it with a crayon. You sold all my D&D miniatures and BattleTech a while back. I felt good to get rid of it. I didn't have any D&D miniatures, but the first thing I ever sold on eBay was my BattleTech stuff. And I probably had 40 mechs. I wish I would have kept pictures of it just to compare. I had some stuff that I thought looked pretty good. I bet if I looked at it now, I wouldn't think that. I need to exit the year with less inventory than I have now. I haven't been able to hobby as much as I planned in the last 2 months. That's because you're involved in too much work stuff. I had somebody ask me a while ago. I'm not going to talk about it. It's work related. I mean, if you enjoy what you're doing, I don't. So, I think there's a fine line between giving a shit what you do at work and taking it personally. And they don't want you to take it personally. Well, I want to kick ass, like. Also want to game more. I don't feel that pull at all. None. Maybe if I was retired. And I'd say most people would probably disagree with me. Most people would probably be like, I gotta get some game in. I'm like, I do plenty of gaming. It's just not in this standpoint. Now, the next show doesn't come for a while, and I'm a lot less excited about it than I was a month ago. I need to I need to kill some of this inventory that I have. It's not like I don't want to work on this stuff. Oh, this is a 30-year-old, 40-year-old model. Why do we want to work on that? Because it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. What's the thing called? Is it zero sum? Where to have more of one thing, you have less of something else. Work is like zero, if that's correct. Work is like zero sum. Like if you work more, you get less free time. Like, you know, like I've said before, it isn't a problem working a 13-hour day. But the problem is those extra hours come out of your free time. It's like, that's not cool, man. You know? I mean, if you need, if you work in, if you work at a normal length day and you get, I don't know, 12 hours off, when you're working a day and a half, you should at least have the same amount of time off, but it doesn't work that way. You get less time off. So I'm like, that's not cool, you know? And it's just like, man, no matter how long you are at work, there's some things you're not going to be able to solve. Because the other people you need to solve it aren't there. When I'm done, I should post the tiger and elephant tank. I need to take pictures of them outside. I am not happy with my picture taking skills at all. I'm not. Picture skills or lack thereof. I'm not proud of my picture taking skills. And I say this all the time. It looks better to me than it does in pictures. But we'll try to go outside. The problem is 100 fucking degrees outside. This isn't Michigan. Taking photos isn't hard. It's getting the light right that's hard. Yeah, what I would have really liked to do is just continue getting some of those Italian buildings, man. That's the best thing I've ever painted. I was really impressed with that. And a lot of it is just expectation. I wasn't expecting that to come out to anything. Here we go. Do you think you could live in a state that has Michigan weather? Yes, I could. I just couldn't deal with all the Yankees. I don't know. You guys have a lot of restrictions, don't you? You got like a state sales tax and all that bullshit. You guys have too much government up there. And the weather is only a problem because of like, like I want to do something. You can't. Why? You're snowed in. Fuck that. I mean, that's Mother Nature on the rag. I couldn't deal with it. It's not a temperature issue for me. I would love if Florida was freaking colder. It's got nothing to do with that. I'd be happy in cold weather every day. You know. I'm not one of these people that, I got to move to Florida because it's too cold where I'm at. I'm like, well, let me experience that. Now I wouldn't want to shovel a damn thing. Like, I can't leave. I got to shovel my driveway. Fuck that. So, and I've heard rumors we're about to get another load of New Yorkers here. We don't need New Yorkers. We don't need New Yorkers here. Stay up there. Go to Michigan. Being snowed in is fun. I don't know. I don't want to do any yard work as it is. Because it's unlike this. Like, well, this is done, it's done, right? Not like, it gets undone. Like, fuck that. Yard work is like you paint this tank and then a week later it's unpainted and you got to paint it again. I'm like, again, falls into the busy work category. Busy work's like makes you want to look forward to dying so you don't have to do it anymore. Like, oh man, you only got a week to live. Good, no more busy work. That's going to end up being a black piece, anyways, but we'll give it a little bit of something, something around it. And, it's kind of hard to judge a state by the whole state because there's parts of Florida I wouldn't want to live in. You know, there's some shitholes in Florida. There's some shitholes everywhere. Where I live, shovels don't work. You have to have a snowblower. What would you do with a basement? And then you get gypped because not every house has a basement. But it's too late to be moving. There's like an element. There's just like an element of risk. You can do all that stuff when you're young, or maybe you got somebody that could bail you out if something goes sideways. Like, hey, I decided to move to Arizona, see if I could make it, and then it doesn't work out, and you go back to mom and dad. When you're an adult, you just can't take those kind of risks, even if you wanted to. Which I feel like people that do risky behavior and stuff like that just don't have enough going on at work and stuff. It's like, man, I'm bored. And what am I gonna do? I don't know. Let's pack everything and go to Arizona or something. That's why I was like, oh, you don't want to be the general manager of your place. I'm like, why would I want to do that? I'd have all the problems I have. Plus, I'd create new problems. I wouldn't get a rest. No. I'd have to fuck this. I'm committing a crime, so I don't have to worry about anything other than satisfying my cellmate. It's just too many damn worries. Almost every home in Michigan has a basement. Yeah, imagine if you're one of the ones that doesn't. Troy built Storm 9528 9.5 horsepower engine. Yeah, I don't know anything about a basement. Never lived in a house with a basement. I've actually never lived in a house that you hear the floor when you're walking on it. So in other words, it's a subfloor. I've never lived in a house with a subfloor. But it's always like tile or something on top of a monolithic slab. I've never lived in a boom, boom, I call it a boom, boom, boom floor. That's what it is. You can't sneak up on anybody. You know, if you have a basement, you're going to have one of those. Or if you have an older home, you're going to have one of those. That has a crawl space or... Never had a pool, don't need to have one. I think the idea of a pool is better than actually having a pool. It's just another problem. Let's take a close look at this. We're good there. Be nice if we can get all this done today. This morning. But what I really would not want to live is live in the country or slash a dirt road and have no privacy. Like these people that live out in the middle of nowhere and they have a neighbor right there. It's like, well, what's the point then? You know? And my only gripe about this place, I have no privacy here. If I wanted to do something I wasn't supposed to outside, I'd have witnesses. You know. Now, they're significantly farther away from where they were at the other house, but still. You'll drive by these houses, they're out in the middle of nowhere, and there's somebody, and they're like they're right on a highway, or they're right next to somebody else. Like, what's the freaking point in living out here and then that? You don't want a neighbor who doesn't take care of their house, and there's a lot of people that have neighbors who just like, I'm not ever gonna mow my lawn. Have I ever been in a basement? Yeah, a couple times. It's weird, man. I remember when I went to Ohio many years ago. And I went to this guy's house. And he had turned his entire basement into like a movie room. And it was really nice. It was really, really nice. Probably the thing I like the most about a basement is it's always cool down there. Which, is a problem for us Floridians, finding a place that's cool. Whereas when we have a basement type thing, our Florida equivalent of a basement is what they call a bonus room, and that's usually above the garage. I don't have one. I could. My house looks like it's got one, but it doesn't. It's all a facade. That's the hottest part of the fucking house. Like, I don't want, my hobby room to be like the hottest part of my house. I mean, it's even hotter than a garage. So I don't want to do anything in the hottest part of the house. I want to do stuff in the coldest part of the house. Won't see me with a space heater. That's pussy shit. Put on some clothes, man. My wife used to work with a guy who was like fat like a walrus. He was like walrus big. And he's always cold. Like I don't know about you. I think fat people are always supposed to be warm, right? Like I'm warmish all the time. I'm pretty insulated. And he had a space heater in his office. Like, good morning. I was just talking about you the other day, Barnes. I think Yorkshire Gamer's your people, right? Because he's got a little white flower as a logo. Haven't seen any red flowered people. Nobody wants to admit it's one of those. The only problem with this camouflage, by the time I'm done dry brushing this, it's going to be almost invisible. But we're just going to roll with it. And this is that stupid color they suggested you to use is that olive green version 2, which is honestly trash. I don't like that color at all. And I made my own color green and I made my own color brown for that one because I wanted to match the illustrations, and it did that pretty well. Shit, you're 5'8", 197, healthy weight. I like the cold. I saw my I saw your comments in his War Games Max post. Oh, on the one on YouTube? Yeah. It's funny because I've never seen a copy of Miniature War Games, but it always looked super dated to me. And I have bought magazines, but I buy them digitally because then I can just print them out if I need to. You know, and just print out the parts that I want printed out. And I've got some War Games Illustrated that I picked up. Is this what I turned it into? I have yeah, I have reused these folders. I can't remember what's in them anymore, but I don't mind buying digitally, and then when you do, you know, you can just print out the stuff that you want, you know? And they cost less, and you get them immediately. So, I've never seen war games, miniature war games out there. And War Games Illustrated, they'd always give you a copy at Historicon or something like that, and it's just, yeah. And I like the fact that you're not trashing the only copy that you have by reading it. I have like an unhealthy, almost like you need to treat, you know, books like not replaceable kind of thing. So I hate them getting damaged in the process. Somebody was telling me that he wasn't like that same person all the time. I mean, I like the fact that he's grouchy. I like the fact that people like cuss. Not all the time, but they're not like, I better not say that online. I'm like, how about be yourself, man? Just be yourself, and that's. So when somebody meets you, you're like the same person, not like somebody different. All right, time to go. Have a good day. You too, man. Order the Warhammer February just to check out the Giovanni the Medici article. Yeah, he didn't like that a lot. He went like on and on about that. I'm like, okay. Yeah, the one that was interesting was, what's his name? Pete's Flags, right? Pete's Flags is freaking incredible. His flags are just awesome. There's no reason to make your own. If he makes them, just use his flags. And he's got some condottieri guys, including this one guy that has this really cool flags, and I had to read more about him. This guy called Malatesta, because he's got an elephant on his flags. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So if I did like a Condot army, maybe I'll do him. And then I go, I'm like, I got to find out about this guy. So I ended up ordering a book. That's a book probably written in the 50s or the 60s or whatever, and it has this compendium of like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different condottieri. Some of them I've never heard of before, including Malatesta. Malatesta sounds like bad balls or something like that. Or he's got 2 balls, but one of them shoots blanks. Malatesta. Anyhow, he's a horrible guy. He's just like somebody you wouldn't want to go fight for, and like, he was like not good, um, and wasn't a very good commander. It's like, I don't know about these elephant flags, and at least that's what I remember of him. I remember him not being that impressionable. But a lot of these guys will go and it's like, I don't watch football anymore. But one thing that really annoyed me about watching football, well, I did watch Monday Night Football because it was on the one channel I would get when I moved out. So this is like in the early 90s. And one thing that was really annoying is when you have somebody that, is part of a team, and then they leave the team, and then not only do they leave the team, but they go into the team of their enemy. And there's a lot of these guys that did, this, there's basically 3 big cities that are fighting. The 3 main cities that are fighting for most of that period in the Italian wars is Florence, Milan, and Venice. Those 3 are always vying for power, and Naples to a lesser extent, but Naples is a little bit different than those other 3. But you got guys that'll be like, they'll fight for Venice all the time, and they'll switch to Milan, and I'm like, man, you just no honor kind of stuff. So you'll find somebody. It's like, oh, okay, you're trying to figure out who's the commander of what side. You're like, all right, this guy's fighting for Venice, and then you look a little bit further, and he's like, oh shit, now he's fighting for Milan again. And it's like, it's just really, really confusing, really, really confusing. So, but yeah, Malatesta isn't worth it. Malatesta isn't worth a damn. I mean, I think disloyalty is a terrible trait to have. You know, I think it's a terrible trait to have as a human being. You know, if you're treated well. I mean, I guess if you're treated poorly, I mean, but can you get War Games Illustrated digitally as well? I got a bunch of War Games Illustrated that are older and they have World War II articles. Is that something that would interest any of you, me going through them in a video? Or not really? This guy was basically giving them all away at this convention, and I looked through all of them. I wasn't just gonna, all right, I'll take them all. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just look through the ones that had World War II shit. There's a few of them that had DBA stuff. Didn't grab those. Not playing DBA again. Probably, but you ordered physical. Man, I can't stand the waiting. The waiting drives me bananas. So the next step after this is we're going to give this a dry brush of the base color. And then we can do the decaling. Which unfortunately I may end up being disappointed with how it looks. I hate to say that, but I'm painting these based on what they would look like at a battle, not necessarily what my favorite schemes are. And I may have to go in with this color and go over it with a paintbrush when I'm done to make the camouflage stand out a little bit more, because it's pretty subtle. I gotta go find this hatch. This hatch is probably out there somewhere. It fell off while I was spraying it. Oh, we got this stuff in the back to do. Early war poles will be my starter, so anything along the lines is good. Man, you could just, what scale are you doing? You doing 20s, or you doing 15s, or 28s? Man, those first to fight Polish things, man, they make everything. Of course, we live in the land of 3D printing. They can make anything for you. I do like the 39 pole stuff. Better than the 44 poles. They have their whole everything. So, all right. Well, I gotta go get ready. Well, we'll see you guys on the flip side. Enjoy whatever the hell day of the week is. This is my late day. Yeah, Wednesday. I don't get to decide when I leave work day, is what it is. Not necessarily late day. Sometimes it isn't. All right, folks. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye. 15's Tony not going down the 20 million rabbit hole again. Okay. Yeah, lots of stuff out there for you. All right, folks, we'll see.